Welcome to Food Talk, where we talk about food, farming, fishing, and all things East End. And this afternoon, my guests are Katie Baldwin from Amber Waves Farm and Carissa Waechter from Carissa's Breads. We're so glad to have you here. And so, Carissa, I'm tortured by the smell of this bread.
Good.
And you guys have a connection because you both sort of started around 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. Amber Waves is growing, and also grew some of your wheat. Do they grow all your wheat?
No, I actually started using a portion of their wheat, and it was really well received. And there were a couple of farms out here that started growing wheat and other different grains. So I'm sort of using a couple of different farms now.
That's
7,
great.
yeah.
It's very popular bread. It's an excellent product. And what kinds of breads did you bring today?
Yeah, so today I have the honey oat loaf, so that's local honey from Mary Woltz, wonderful. I have the salty soured pickled rye, which has pickled rye, and that's the one back there with the caraway seed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that one is potato and sweet potato. That's actually new this year.
Featured here in this display.
Yeah. So I am waiting for Balsam Farms potatoes to come out of the ground, and then those are going to be local potatoes and sweet potatoes. And then I have beer bread with the Montauk Brewing Company Stout, and they all contain Amber Waves wheat.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Katie,
very close connection.
So it's springtime. What's hot? What's growing? What's fresh at Amber Waves right now?
Well, we do a mix of wheat and vegetables. So in the world of vegetables, it's all things green.
Okay.
Green, green, green. So this week's CSA box is broccoli rabe, mizuna, kohlrabi is making an appearance for the first time on our farm. And in terms of wheat, the stage of growth that it's at is it's recently heading and showing its seed head. So we plant a winter wheat in October. Mm-hmm. It overwinters, acts as our cover crop, and then is the first thing up in the spring. And at this stage is heading, we'll harvest it in July.
Oh, great. Is your farm all organic?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, we are not certified organic by the USDA, but we follow the Northeast Organic Farming Association's Farmer Pledge, which some would describe as being beyond organic because there are certain stipulations there that we follow.
Good. Good for you. Just for our viewers, will you describe specifically or define what a CSA is?
Yes, happily. CSA stands for Community Supported Agriculture. And that means it's a partnership between the eater and the farmer. You join a farm as a member at the beginning of a season. You pay for your share of a season's worth of food up front. Mm-hmm. That gives the farmer seed money in the beginning of the season to pay for labor and equipment that before the harvest comes in, before you can sell your goods. So it's shared risk. It distributes risk. Sometimes a crop doesn't work out the way you think it is, as it turns out. And the eater, the participant, understands that
those are the risks.
Those are the risks involved. And there are also rewards, right? So if you have a wildly successful tomato crop, you as a CSA member would be receiving loads of tomatoes.
And is the pickup always on weekends?
Nope.
No. You can pick up during the week.
You can pick up Tuesday at the farm, Friday at the farm, Saturday at the farm, and we deliver to Montauk and Sag Harbor also.
Because I had to pick up Dr. Dish fish there one season, as you know, it's when we first met.
Right.
And I got allergic to the crowds that would descend on you, the second homeowners, and just some locals that couldn't get there until Saturday. It's a really popular farm, and I miss going there. So I'm just thinking in the back of my head, are you still accepting memberships?
We are.
Okay.
We are. It's not too late. This is the third week of the season, but the season goes until Thanksgiving. So it's early on.
Oh, okay. All right.
The bread share is still available too.
So talk about the bread share. Let's learn about
part
that.
Part of the partnership that we have.
So with Amber, you have two choices. One is the classic bread share. So it's the farm loaf. It's got flour, salt water, and yeast. Amber Waves grain, of course, and this natural starter that first started in Amagansett in '65, so you have a choice of that or an alternating loaf. So there's a couple of farms out there that do this now. So that's becoming very popular. But
So you just said a key word, which is your starter, because you have a really interesting story about how you got your starter. Tell us.
I do, yeah. When the first year out here, I was a pastry chef in the city, and I came out here.
Where were you a pastry chef?
A few places. I was actually trained by the world pastry champion when I first started out as an apprentice. So I worked for him for a couple of years.
What was his name?
Michel Walloum.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a very intense French guy.
Bien sûr.
Yeah. Oui, chef.
Are there restaurants whose name we would know?
Yeah, I
Because
worked
we're
under.
petty like that, you know.
Yeah, of course. I worked under Daniel Baloud, and I was David Burke's head pastry chef.
Oh, wonderful.
For years.
Good
yeah.
for you.
Yeah.
So you've got chops. You're just not a bread. It's not just bread, it's pastries. You could whip up a nice creme brulee like that.
Well, maybe, yeah.
Say yes. I believe
Okay,
I believe
yeah,
in you. I
good,
believe
yeah.
in you. Tell me about the starter. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so it was interesting. My first year out as a pastry chef in the city, and I took a gig out here, and that was the year Amber Waves had first started growing wheat on the East End for several decades, and so obviously I was very interested. And that same year, a gentleman who is 85 now gifted me this sour culture that he started in Amagansett in 1965, and that is so special to me. It is now in all of these breads. It's just this natural thing. I know, it's the greatest thing ever.
How do you keep that starter going?
Right, so he's kept it going
it's
since
on
65.
you.
I've managed to kill it a couple of times,
Right.
but
You have.
yeah.
Killer.
I know.
Starter killer.
But we've got it going now. We have a
Right.
couple of different places.
You got some
so,
stashed. I mean,
yeah.
it's all on you.
And he's
this
given me
man,
back
when this
a
man
few
passes
times,
on,
yeah.
it's all on
I
you,
know,
right?
Scary.
It is scary. It's a lot of pressure.
Well, there's a couple of people that have it. Not many, but a few. So we feed it with flour, Amber Waves flour, and water, and feed it regularly, and try to take the best care we can of it, and it's really happy. And also, I have this rye starter now that a fisherman gave me from Southampton, and that is 15 years old now. So I have a rye starter and a wheat starter. Yeah.
So before the show, we were talking about gluten.
Yeah.
So the Food Lover's Companion, we like to demystify food, as our viewers know. So according to the Food Lover's Companion, which is our little Food Talk Bible, everybody should have one if you are a food lover. This helps you spell things correctly, but also helps you know what you're eating. So according to the Food Lover's Companion, gluten. Wheat and other cereals that are made into flour contain proteins, one of which is glutenin, commonly known as gluten. Viewed alone, gluten is tough, elastic, grayish substance, resembling chewing gum. True or false? No. It's the gluten in flour when a dough is kneaded that helps hold the gas bubbles formed by the leavening agent. Most flours contain gluten in varying amounts. Bread or hard wheat flour has a high gluten content and is therefore good for yeast breads, blah, 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 blah. So we know that there's this big trend about gluten-free. 5 years ago, it was really just for like the celiac who was just deathly allergic to this. But other people, like me, attempt to eat gluten-free. Give me your take on it, because you really had some words of wisdom off camera.
Well, thank you.
And so did Katie. So tell me about gluten-free.
So it's a huge trend right now, gluten-free, and it's a lot of marketing, and I think what it boils down to, in my perspective, is that really mass-produced breads and sort of commercially produced breads, and quite frankly cheap breads, there's just a really funny process to get it from A to B, from the way the wheat is grown and fertilized and harvested and stored and processed, and to get it to look like this fluffy white flour. It's bleached and bromated, and it has all these weird things happening.
Oh, we have a coffee mess here, folks, live on. I promise not to spill
That's
this, Katie.
perfectly fine.
I like a little
Quite
spilled
skillful
coffee.
with the
I'm
extension.
going lefty, too.
Nice. That was perfectly formed. Thank
You
you.
made me spill again. See, I'm a bundle of nerves. So keep talking.
Right. So there's all these funny processes that happen to flour in order to get it, to be cheaper. So by the time that it becomes ready to be turned into this loaf of bread, there's really no healthy properties to it left, and there's all of the natural gluten is sort of stripped out of it.
But your bread.
So the funny thing is that these huge bread companies pump in tons of gluten, this gluten substance, to make it act like bread. So nobody can eat that. That's really terrible for you. And of course, everybody's going to be allergic to it. And I have a lot of people.
Sugar?
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Are my fingers okay?
Very much so.
Yeah. They're clean.
I'm going to take it
You're already sweet.
Thank you.
So I'm certainly not the doctor, but I do have an inbox full of nutritionists and doctors saying that, we cannot eat normal, commercial bread, but that we can tolerate yours pretty well.
Because you mentioned that your bread had, all of 4 ingredients in it?
Yeah, there's nothing funny in it. It's Amber Waves wheat, which we mill ourselves just before we bake. It's this natural yeast. It's, I do use bread flour, but it's non-GMO and nothing funny or bromated.
And Katie, you had some comments, insights on gluten. Tell me.
Right. Well, the funniest being that we started a farm that was based on growing wheat when the entire food space decided to go gluten-free. And so we knew that we were going to face this challenge of explaining how the staff of life hasn't actually changed. And when you grow wheat and treat it, you grow it organically and you mill to bake, and you're just adding water, yeast, and salt. You keep it simple, you keep it straightforward, and as Carissa said, there are many people who can't tolerate commercially processed bread, but who love and enjoy this bread in a different way. It's an entirely different product.
I may be one of those people.
Yeah.
I've had the bread before. I had it at Thanksgiving, and I was saying, off camera, that I was bloated, but I don't think it was from your bread. I think it was from thirds and fourths of it wasn't you. So we covered gluten.
That was easy.
Yes, it was. Let's talk about your personal lives. Not too personal. What I want to know is, if you had 5 people, Katie Baldwin, to invite to dinner in the whole history of the world, maybe even people in the future. I don't know how your brain works. 5 people to invite for dinner. Who would they be? And perhaps even why?
Okay. Well, the first answer is my mom. I don't get to see her that often. She lives on the West Coast, so anytime I get to have dinner with her, and I don't even have to explain that.
No, absolutely not. Good. That's a good one.
And then to add a few more lively characters, I always think dinners are best if you gather a group of people that are the best at what they do and bring to the table their experiences. So in addition to being a farmer, I'm also interested in art and music. And so I would select, I love Gladys Knight.
Oh, what a great call.
So I think she would just be a sassy Sasserton. I got to see her in concert at the Hollywood Bowl, and she said, I love love. I love me some love. And so I just would love to meet that woman. Wes Anderson is my favorite film director, so I'd love to have dinner with him. I think it's always great to have an author in the mix. I've been reading Wendell Berry, so I enjoy his work.
Wendell Berry, is he the guy who was the Catholic priest who turned poet? That's a different Berry.
He's a religious man of sorts. Not necessarily Catholic, but invokes spirituality and nature and particularly farming.
Okay, so you got Wes Anderson, Wendell Berry, Gladys Knight, your mom.
Yeah.
So the last one.
And a fifth. Someone funny. I think it's a Bill Murray type. Let's call Bill Murray, not even type.
Right.
It's just Bill Murray.
Because he's got the rapport with Wes Anderson too. Those are really good. You may get the award. We haven't heard Carissa's yet.
I think Katie's going to get the award.
Yeah, no, those are good. Mark Smith has some good ones too, but those are very, very good. Thank you very much for that.
It's a good question.
Oh, well, thank you.
So if we could pull some strings and make it happen.
I think we should. It's sort of a new show. Carissa, you're 5.
Yeah, I was thinking about this question, and I thought, how funny would it be? Because I was like, gosh, should I go in the spiritual direction and have like the Dalai Lama and like Buddha, you know?
People have done that.
And I think they should be at the table. But then also, like, to just really jazz it up, I think we should have Mick Jagger and, like, how about Freddie Mercury?
Well, okay, so you got Jagger,
toss him in the
Mercury.
mix,
You gonna go for the Dalai Lama?
Yeah.
Or you gonna, okay, so
Yeah.
Dalai Lama. Okay.
No, I'm not going to,
No,
deny
yeah,
the
right,
Dalai
okay,
Lama,
you're not
of
gonna-
course, yeah.
If he knocks on the door, you're not gonna go, sorry, it's only 5 for dinner. Right? You gotta
Absolutely,
go.
yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
you got Dalai Lama, Freddie Mercury. Those are two good ones right there.
Right next to each other.
And Mick,
too,
exactly.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
So you got 2 left.
Okay, so then, so I had Dalai Lama, Freddie Mercury, Mick Jagger, I said.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there. The Buddha, can he be?
Buddha, absolutely.
Can he be in there? Yeah.
Gautama Buddha. Okay.
Great, yeah,
good, all right.
perfect. So I have one more. Oh, so, I was thinking about it.
You got to mix it up because you got 2 religious, well, you don't have to, but I'm suggesting. Never mind, it's your 5 people.
To kind of balance it out, well, I definitely need like an entrepreneur because I love listening to like entrepreneurs talk and they get me all jazzed up and fired up about my business and all good things, and bring some fresh ideas and kind of round it all out. But we also need a lady at the table. So I mean, it could be Oprah, it could be Julia Child.
You're gonna say Oprah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, she seems to have it figured out.
So you're gonna go with Oprah.
Oh gosh,
10 seconds.
or even a Bill Gates, but he's
Okay.
I did say a lady. We do need a lady.
The first one that came to mind was Oprah. So your 5 are Oprah.
Yeah. Okay.
So Oprah, Freddie Mercury,
Yeah.
Buddha, Dalai Lama,
Yeah.
and Mick Jagger. Those are very good.
Yeah,
Those
why
are
not?
very good. Those are very good.
That answer might change in an hour.
Oh, of course. You brought some bread. Let's switch places and get you slicing some bread so that we might taste your bread. Not that the viewers can taste the bread, but we'll taste it.
They would have to come to Amber Waves and purchase a loaf then,
That is,
right?
that
Wouldn't
is
they?
correct. They would. By the way, where are your breads available?
We're actually kind of all over the East End, both the North and South Forks now. I have hooked up with an amazing distributor, Rustic Roots Delivery. So now
good.
we are throughout Montauk, Brooklyn, Queens, and New York City. We do home delivery. So
Wow.
yeah.
That's big. Good for
Yeah,
you.
We're getting there. I think the
sure
next
are.
few years are going to be a pretty wild ride. So
Well, we're glad to
stay
catch you
tuned,
now
everybody.
while you're
So, thank
while you're
goodness.
available. Before you have an agent that we have to go through.
Katie's the agent.
That's a good agent to have.
But what a great
She's got
segue.
Gladys Knight coming to dinner,
I
so
know,
that's
yeah.
I like that. That's very cool.
But interesting segue to the grainbow that's growing at Amber Waves Farm because we can introduce a whole new array of breads when this comes out. So
Right, and some of which are on the cutting board today. So the idea for the grainbow was it's like a 2.0 version of our Amagansett Wheat project, and one of our apprentices, Hannah, last year thought let's do some more trialing and let's give it a really sassy name. And so we are trialing 14 different grains at the farm this year. So Chris is slicing the honey oat loaf. We are trying a spring hulless oat that she can start working with. And next to her is the rye. So we are growing rye, and rye grows very well out here.
I'm all over that rye.
What else is going on? And then we're trying some fun grains like quinoa, flax, millet. Sorghum has been quite popular. That's a gluten-free grain.
Right. By the
Great
way,
for brewing.
Carissa, will you make, when you're happy with it, will you make a gluten-free bread for me?
yeah, absolutely. My whole thing I've been holding off so far is because I really just am waiting to find something that is just killer and that I am so proud of.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough,
And I haven't come up with it yet, and I kind of refuse to buy a bag of gluten-free flour.
I have
and,
confidence in
yeah.
you, but I understand.
Thank you. So,
No.
so stay tuned.
And then grainbow, is that the overarching name to this whole grain project?
Yes.
I like that. That's
Right.
very good.
It's a
Very
great
good.
great name, and it's descriptive of the way we have it laid out in the field. And you can come visit the grainbow. It's an educational tool. So most of the work associated with food is not only to feed people, but to teach people about where their food's coming from. So our gates are open. You can visit the farm. You can come meet your baker. You can meet your farmers. And the idea of teaching people about grains and where they're coming from and how they grow is a new concept. I mean, I feel like we've kind of graduated out of the idea of the heirloom tomato, and we've evolved into having wanting to have a better understanding of where these foundational foods come from.
This is very good bread.
Potato for you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
This is the pickled rye?
Yes. So we use local pickles, local rye, local wheat,
This is
and
so
that
good.
rye sour from 15 years ago. And lots of caraway seeds.
I
Love
like it.
caraway.
It's very, very good.
Thank you.
There's somebody else in this room who would love this bread. The producer, Ellen Watson, she would love this, but she loves all your bread.
Ellen Watson is a VIP in the Carissa's Breads world, and she gets as much bread as she can handle.
She's been a fan. I know this for a fact. I probably should try. May I have a morsel of the potato bread?
You can have, yes, you can have a morsel. But do you want more than a morsel?
I'll take the similar portion that you doled
How
out
about
before.
how about this one here with the little
perfect.
chip on
Oh,
the
yeah,
end?
yeah, I like a little tippy chip.
Sweet potato chip there.
Oh, wow.
It would be awful if you didn't like it. I would be so embarrassed.
What's not to like?
I would lie for you before
Thank you.
for
I
the show.
appreciate that.
This is good. This is a whole different texture. So this is really almost like a sandwich loaf.
When I develop a new bread, what I'm looking for is maybe another color, another texture. I have my lineup of 8 breads now. So when I have my mind on like what the next one would be, what is it that would complement the rest of the breads and not be too identical to something that we're already serving or already offering? Yeah, it's also dictated by the farmers and what grains are coming up and what cool things are happening and the other food products that are out here that I really respect the other businesses and would like to work with. So.
We try not to be too promotional on this show, but folks, you gotta get some of this bread. And I would go to Amber Waves to get the bread, and you're not allowed to like wander in the fields, right? I mean,
Our gates are open to the
Okay, true.
public. Yep.
I've always wondered that, like, are you allowed to just kind of like walk through the fields or like run through the fields? But you can't really pick stuff.
We do embrace it.
You do the picking, right?
We do most of the picking, although we do encourage people to explore the fields, and we will have crops like cherry tomatoes and husk cherries and peas, and especially flowers. It is a great crop to get some interaction with the farm fields. So yeah, the public is welcome to join us.
So my issue with the CSA is can I eat all the stuff? You know, that's why I haven't really pulled the trigger, but. Maybe I should just pull the trigger anyway. And like maybe you can tell me other things I could do with the vegetables if I'm not going to eat them that particular weekend. Maybe I chop them up, make ratatouille, freeze it, something like that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it does require a lot of cooking.
Right.
But this time of year, as I mentioned with the greens, it's and Carissa and I are on this raw green salad program right now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
what the farm's producing, so you don't even have to cook. You just have
no,
to
I like my raw green.
be a responsible eater and get through the box. If you cannot, you know, many people share. So they sign up with a friend
Right.
and split it up.
I don't have any friends though, so that's the
Oh yeah, okay. Well,
solo
we won't
flyer.
go there.
No, don't. Okay. All right, okay. This
But
is good to know.
pestos are a hot thing this time
Right,
of year
okay.
too, right?
All right,
You have your greens, your olive oil, and your salt and pepper, and your green garlic into Cuisinart. So that's pea shoots, that's arugula pesto, that's kale pesto, and then that makes just, I mean, we had dinner together the other night, and it's just a fantastic spread.
So folks, there's still some CSA memberships available.
Yep.
You might even get some Carissa's bread into that mix, right? Okay, it's good to know. I say this for myself because
All right,
I may
well,
have
I
to
think
pull-
you're in.
Now that I've said that, basically
I think
you
you're
pulled the
in.
trigger,
There's
I need to pull the
space.
trigger.
You love the bread. Here we go. Let's do this.
Should we talk price or no? We don't. We shouldn't talk price.
It's
not?
reasonable and it's affordable, and I think the idea is with the farm membership, you know, you get your vegetables, you get to know your farmer, you get your bread, you get to know your baker. So just as you would, you know, you would want to know your lawyer and your doctor and your mechanic and all of these
a really good point.
trusted experts in your life, you
I have to go see my
can
farmer.
afford
I have to go
to
see my baker.
understand
that.
the process of food and build a relationship with the people that are growing it in a responsible way for you. So.
Now I feel guilty for not having the relationship prior to this show because clearly other people do, and I think that they well no, but they also benefit from it. I mean, I'm being corralled in. This is a good thing. No, not unwillingly either because okay. Stop, Steve. Just,
Yeah, it's a great idea. And you know, there's one of the oldest CSA farms in the state of New York is Quill Hill.
right.
And Carissa and I both partner with Quill Hill and with Scott Chaskey and the Peconic Land Trust.
And how do you partner with them?
We share equipment.
Oh, okay.
Carissa purchases grain from them. Knowledge and equipment is really, you know, there are not very many farmers left in East Hampton. There's an uptick in new young farmers.
Right.
And
Because
Scott
of you
is-
guys.
I would say because of Scott Chaskey
Right,
and his
okay.
apprenticeship program.
He's
So
amazing.
we came through that program and we're paying it
Is
forward.
Quail Hill bigger than Amber Waves?
I don't know what their membership is right
I just
now,
wondered.
but in terms of acreage, they are growing more fresh vegetables.
Okay.
I think they're at 20 acres. But it's comparable size. I mean, we're all kind of in the Amagansett area, you know,
Right,
50
right,
acres or less.
I like your name. I like Amber Waves. It's calming, don't you think? I mean,
It's hard to come up with a business name.
It was a good name. That was a good name.
I never did.
I know, you took the smart route, because my business partner, Amanda
Right,
Marrow, who
right.
couldn't be with us today, she's at the farm, leading the crew and running the CSA.
Right.
She is often confused and by people calling her Amber.
Right.
So that was something we did not think of ahead of time. But you know, we
I was
wanted
confused
to,
by that.
Yeah, so it's Amanda of Amber Waves Farm. But
right.
we wanted to evoke the idea of this kind of iconic image and vision, and we're a farm by the sea, and we
it's
wanted to make those
You
associations.
guys have done a great job, and I just want to thank you both for being on the show. By the way, our first female guests, which is really
Right.
fabulous, for no other reason than we wanted you guys to be first. Again, I just want to thank you for bringing your
Thank
breads and
you
for coming
so
on the
much.
show.
Thank
Katie,
you
what a
for
pleasure
having
to
us.
meet you. Thank you. I'll meet you again, and thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you. We love your show.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's coming along.
The best show in the whole
Fantastic.
I
world.
love LTV. I got a great producer and a great director, and it's all good. So we're going to conclude our show today. I would just say to our viewers, cógelo suave, pero cógelo, which is take it easy, but take it. And make sure you get some Carissa's bread, and you can get it over at Amber Waves. And drive safely, folks. As you know, the roads are a little bit nutty with nuts. We'll have a nut grower on in a couple of weeks. No, anyway, thanks for everything, and we'll see you guys.